Hey, what's going on? Mark, Warrior Works, here with my buddy Zach. We're going to be out here doing some training today at the FOP range in Pleasant Grove, Alabama. And what we're going to do today is we're going to use the build drill as a way to diagnose and improve specific things related to combat marksmanship. You know, speed, accuracy, that kind of thing. We're going to be diagnosing potential issues with draw stroke, grip, stance, trigger pull. You know, we're going to talk a little bit about rhythmic shooting and how you can pick a split pattern in your mind and try to duplicate that rhythmically with your trigger finger. We're going to talk about tracking the front sight or the dot, depending on whatever your sight system is. And we're going to use the build drill to diagnose and then treat maybe some symptoms of some bad habits or just some things we need to improve on skill-wise. And we're going to start by doing a build drill with Zach, you know, relatively cold. I think we've shot, 15 rounds just to make sure that we remember the safety rules and our guns are functioning and all that. And we're going to use that time and the shots on target as a baseline, and then we'll kind of film segments of what we're going to do to address some things that maybe could help Zach improve. And then at the end of it, we'll show him doing another build drill, and the goal would be that it's a better time and better shots or some combination of the two. So kind of what are you, I know that you're not a new shooter, you're a fairly accomplished shooter. I've been on the range with you plenty of times, just saw you shoot, and very tight groups. So what are you trying to accomplish at this point in kind of the progression towards this imaginary mastery that no one ever accomplishes? What are you trying to achieve?
I'd like to be able to pick up my speed and still maintain those tight groupings, to be able, if I'm ever in a real life situation, I know I can take the shot that I need to take accurately under stress.
Sure. Well, and that's a great point. And you know, a lot of people go to 2D flat ranges and they go to the pistol range, and that's great. I'm not crapping on people that go to 2D ranges and shoot, you know, an indoor range. And you know, a lot of these indoor ranges, you're not even allowed to draw from a holster. You're not allowed to shoot more than one round a second. And there's plenty of things you can practice in that environment. But you know, you make a very great point. It's under speed, right? A real world engagement is a race. It's me versus you. You know, a lot of people will crap on me about the gun I carry as a duty gun or as a self-defense gun, and they say, well, that looks very racy. It's, you know, it's got a red dot on it, it's got a compensator, it's got a gas pedal, and they say that those are race gun kind of things. Well, look, a real life engagement's a race.
Yeah, it is.
You know, and so, but also to your point, you can't miss fast enough to win. So shooting quickly isn't enough. Shooting accurately on a 2D range isn't enough. We've got to find ways to combine the two. And that's really what we should all be aiming for, right? Is being able to, that's combat marksmanship, speed and accuracy. What can I do to be fast and accurate enough to win? And so those are the things we'll focus on today. I think the build drill is a great drill to diagnose those things because it's measuring accuracy and it's going to measure time because we're going to do it under a shot clock, obviously. And so stay tuned, and me and Zach are about here making things go bang. Okay, so we've marked out 5 yards. There's a bunch of different ways to do the build drill. Typically it's people running at 6 or 7. I know people who run it at 10. If you get really good at doing it up close, there's nothing wrong with starting it at 3 yards. Do it at 2 yards if you want to. But you know, at the point where you feel like you've kind of maxed out what you can get out of that distance, certainly, you know, it changes the game when you start pushing it further and further out. But for the purposes of what we're trying to do and the space we have on the range, we're gonna do a 5-round at 5-yard build drill. We're gonna score the target, put you on a shot clock. All I want you to try to do at this one, you know, you're not trying to burn the whole world down, but I want you to go as fast as you feel like you can safely and accurately. So you're balancing these 3 things. You know, always got to be safe. You can't win a gunfight if you're helping the bad guy shoot you or helping them shoot the innocent people in the environment. So I want you to go as fast as you can, hitting within that 10 ring or 9 ring. We're aiming for the red X, but we'd like to keep everything in the 9 ring and do that as fast as you can safely. So we're balancing safety, speed, and accuracy. That's the real world. Got you on the shot clock. I think we're just going to go ahead and roll with this instead of clipping it up. So if you're not ready, go ahead and make ready. Make sure you're following the 4 weapon safety rules. Treat every weapon like it's loaded. Keep your finger straight off the trigger. Intend to fire. Don't point a gun at me or I'll kill you. Know your target and what's beyond it. That's the modified weapon safety rules. On the beat, it's on you. Whenever you get your 5th round out, you know, assess however you want to assess, and then double check that your weapon's empty and watch it go in the holster, and then we'll look at the dots. On the beat, you ready? So let's go go ahead and start with kind of a, hey man, don't worry about it, it's cool. You know, because a lot of times that's how we're going to start in real world engagement. It's just a good way to have a consistent start. On the beat, it's on you. All right, unload, show clear. You're good, holster. All right, your total time was a 4.69, so let's go ahead and go over the time and then we'll take it over there. So, review. Your first shot was at a 2.29. The goal, the kind of the law enforcement standard that I've always heard talk about is under 2.25. Some people say under 2, so you're right there in the realm for something like that, and you're using a retention holster. All right, so your second round split, so the time between your first round and your second round, 0.6, and then 0.61, very consistent, 0.6, 0.59. So uber consistent in terms of your splits. Right there at 0.6, your total time was 4.69 seconds. And once again, you're running at about a 0.6 average because you had 1.59, a couple of 6.1s, a couple of 6.2s. So right there at the 0.6 average for your round-to-round split, your draw time was a 2.29, so 2.3. Total time is hovering right there at 4.7. So let's look at the holes on the target. And I'll just grab this, run this over here. So obviously everything is in the 9 ring. We've got 2 in the X, so the 10 ring, 1 on the line, 1 here and 1 here. We'd like to have our combat groups at this distance be able to be covered up with one hand. You've definitely achieved that. When I look at this group and I look at your splits, one thing I'm thinking is, okay, there's probably room for you to speed up. Okay, I kind of saw what you did. We'll work a little bit on some of the stuff that I want us to work on. One of the things we need to do is just move faster. I know that's a silly thing to say, but of course you want to move faster, but I didn't see any major technique issues. There's a couple things I want to talk about in the draw. Make sure that we're going straight up and straight out. And I say that it's really kind of like on a 45-degree angle. I don't want to take something that could be one motion and make it 2. I say up and out. A lot of people really exaggerate that and they go up and out, and that's two movements. What I want to see is kind of this happening all at once, so it's a 45-degree or out to presentation, picking this offhand up. And then when it's there, you should have your sight acquired by the time the gun gets out and be running. And so one thing I want to clean up is let's not waste time doing nothing. So every 1/10 of a second we're spending it doing something. So I think we can shave off the edges. Like there's some time at the beat that we immediately move whenever our brain tells us we have the impetus to fire. Like it's not beep, move, it's beep. Okay, and we'll clean that draw stroke up. You ended in a really good 2-hand grip. I think your stance is pretty good. We might add a little bit of forward lean, a little bit of offside foot forward so you can kind of put some forward pressure to really rail on it. We're going to talk about isometric pressure so that you can kind of clamp into the gun, and that'll give you more confidence to run faster splits without losing the front sight, so we can stay laser focused kind of in a hasty front sight at this distance, instinctively pointing towards that X-ring. And then we're going to talk about rhythmic shooting. We'll do some rhythmic shooting drills where you kind of have in your brain is, I want the gun to go, if I want 1/4 second splits, which is kind of the goal here, we want to get 1/4 second splits. Well, if that sounds like this, well, I want to do this, and then my gun go bang, 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 and keep that same tempo. So you're using kind of a predetermined tempo to hone in those splits, and then you're just focused on tracking that front sight as you hit that tempo. So we'll train on all that stuff. We'll show a little bit to you guys, give you a concept of what we're doing to address some of these things, and then we'll come back out here and run it again and see what it looks like.
Sounds good.
All right, so we're going to talk about the first thing that we're going to diagnose, and that's economy of motion. I saw a little bit of kind of wasted motion, so I'm going to demonstrate to you a little bit of what we're doing just in terms of mechanics, and we want to work on getting a better economy of motion, making sure that we are on the rail using as little movement as possible, because movement equals time. So if I can move less and accomplish the same thing, I should be doing it faster. So You'll slide back. I'll kind of show you. You can get right here if you want to, and just kind of watch my draw stroke. I'm gonna do what you were doing a little bit in slow motion. So the gun would go beep, you're defeating your retention device, and I'm seeing you drive down to that two-hand grip and then rock him back up. And that's a longer, like if you just think about if there was a piece of paper here and I'm drawing a line with the tip of my barrel, that's the line's coming up and then going down and then it's coming back up. So not only is that making a longer line, which is taking more time, but what it's also doing is kind of, you ever seen somebody jump off a diving board and the diving board does this? Well, at the end of your draw coming up or coming down, you can tend to have a little bit of that diving board, and so it takes you longer to track that front sight. Or if you don't track the front sight or dot, you just pull the shot. So what I want you to work on is that economy of motion. I'm having my offhand here. Anytime my brain knows I'm going to draw the gun, I'm coming to my retention device and establishing a single hand grip. At the same time, my offhand comes to my chest. There's a couple reasons for that. One, it's an efficient way to pick up my offhand and establish a two-hand grip. But also, I'm never going to have my hand in front of the barrel. I'm never going to accidentally shoot my own hand in the palm, which has happened to people. So I'm coming here, beep. I'm coming here, and I'm wanting to establish this not straight up, but kind of at this angle where as I punch forward, I'm peeling this hand off and going to that two-hand grip. So if you imagine once again that there's a marker on the end of my barrel, this line is relatively short and straight. It's coming up, I'm establishing a two-hand grip, and I'm using my offhand as a pendulum here to rock this up as it gets out. So the last momentum my gun has is moving forward, and I'm not coming all the way out and locking my arms. I want a little bit of spring so that I can absorb that recoil without it doing it in my wrist, which makes me lose my sight. That last little bit of momentum is coming forward so I don't get that diving board. It's not coming up and stopping, it's going forward. So even if I have a little bit of wobble, like as much as my gun's moving right now, I see my front sight and my dot in the window the whole time. So instead of going, I'm going. That's going to be a much quicker time on your draw. So let's try it. Where's the clock? You got the clock? Does anybody have the clock?
Have the clock.
Nobody has the clock. We'll be back after these messages. All right, we're back after these messages. I had the clock the whole time. Don't tell anybody. All right, remember, we're just shooting one round. We're working on that first round at this point. Efficient movement, straight up, straight out. You're not firing this time. You're gonna run through it dry, on the beat, straight up and straight out. All right, that was fumbly dumbly. Let's try that again. You ever watched The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise? Too many mind. Remember when he said that he was thinking too much? Try not to think too much even though I'm telling you something to think about. It's just, I've got a knife on the end of my gun and I'm trying to stab it into that as efficiently as possible. If that guy was charging me and I need to stab him, I wouldn't go, stab. I'd go, stab. And that's kind of what you're doing. All right, same thing again. On the beat, no round. All right, draw was better. You just fumbled with the retention a little bit, but that happens. It happens to all of us. Do it again one more time, no round fired. All right, your right arm did better that time. Your left arm was out here, so you kind of met here, and that's how you shoot yourself in the hand. So make sure you're peeling that, not right off your chest, but the muzzle should be in front of your offhand at all times. Okay, one more time, clean it up, and then we'll do it with the round. No round fired this time. All right, let's do that and get a shot time. Your build drill was what, a 229 or something like that?
Off the first round.
Off the first round, yeah, 229. So don't fight the clock, fight the bad guy, but do it with efficient movement, and let's see what our first time is. Okay, 1, 4, 5, so way faster, almost a second faster, but we're in the 8 ring. Let's get it to the 9 ring. Remember, as that hand's coming forward, I want a hasty flash sight landing in that red X. Don't forget, you can't miss fast enough to win. I realize it's a gut shot, but let's get center mass. Same thing. That was fumble face, still a 173. So that means everything else was way better, because even though you fumbled down here and like wrote a novel with your retention device, it was still under my target for you, which is a 175. So what would it be if you didn't fumble? I don't know, let's find out. Ready? All right, that was good. That was a clean draw. You did the mechanics safely. You ended a good 2-hand grip. High center mass in the 9 ring. 1, 4, 5. All right. So let's work on something else like splits.
Okay.
All right. So we've cleaned up the first round. We went from a, what was it, a 2-2-9 to a 1-4-5. Still in that 9 ring. High center mass on that 9 ring, which is really, honestly, on the target in real life, a better shot than the X ring, but I didn't design the target. So I think we've cleaned that up. We've done that consistently now. And I think as we've done that, your stance looks good and all that. We're going to correct one, not correct, but I'm going to ask you to try one thing. You're relatively flat, so your feet are square with your shoulders. You're in a good isosceles stance. I don't want you to look like you're doing the tactical turd, like pooping on a toilet kind of thing. But once you skew your left foot forward where your heel is about even with your toes, like the back of your toes. So, you know, there's like a 3-inch overlap between, make sure your shoulder width apart and put up just ever so slightly more weight on that front foot. Now, here's where I'm gonna get destroyed. You're already typing, keyboard commandos. Well, in a real gunfight, you're probably not gonna be standing there anyway, so why does it matter where your feet is? Well, because if you ever do shoot and you happen to be standing still, having a good habit for putting your weight a little bit forward on that off foot helps you brace for the recoil a little better. It's a more aggressive stance, and it mimics more what like you would do if you're moving. If you're moving in the real world, you're not moving in like a perfect square isosceles stance like this. You know, your feet are moving, so go ahead and be in sort of a half stride position. Lean forward just a little bit. Yeah, just like that. So there's where we want to start there and end there. And we're going to talk about rhythmic shooting. Get an idea of what your pace should be. We want about a 1/4 second split on you, so that's something like that. So if I have that in my mind, it's slide back, I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's going. It's just keeping that same pace, and I'm probably shooting faster than that because I don't do 50-second splits, but you get the idea. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's all in a full size group. So it's using that tempo in your mind. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And matching that tempo just like you're a drummer. Instead of doing it with your hands, you're going to do it with your gun. So let's get you loaded up. We'll reset the camera. Let's run through it a few times, see what we can get your splits to, and then let's do the whole build drill again and see what the total times are.
All right.
All right, it's your turn. One time, clap it out loud. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with your mouth in your hands. Beep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Again. Beep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All right, let's do that with the trigger. Control the group though. Control the group. Don't let the group slip away. We're gonna run through it 3 times and then we'll redo the full build drill on a fresh target and see what it looks like compared to the first one. Ready? Kind of vapor locked on that last one. 2-6, 2-4, 2-3, 4-1. Perfectly consistent, right where we wanted to be, except for that last one. But good job fighting through it and not letting the vapor lock make you stop and go, oh crap, because that's a training scar you don't want in your brain. All right, let's do it again. Control the group, control the group. All right, that was great. Good groups, all 9 ring and 10 ring. 2-4, 2-5, 2-4, 2-0. All right, so let's see if that was a fluke or can we do it one more time? right, that's the best one yet. Splits were a 2.6, 2.2, 2.5, 2.3. Exactly where they need to be. Let's hang a fresh target and let's do a complete build drill with the whole thing on the clock, and let's see how it compares both in group size and time. So don't cheat yourself fighting the clock, and we'll compare it to the first one.
Cool.
All right, here's no pressure, clean target. Let's compare it to the first one, full build drill. Remember, don't do the too many mind things. Straight up, efficient, economy of motion, flash front sight in that red X. Count out loud. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And count it with your trigger finger. Keep them in the 9 ring or in the low 8 ring, high center mass, and we'll compare the two on the beat. All right, happy with the shots, high center mass. Once you grab the camera, let's talk about it. All right, your first round, 1, 3, 3. Second round, 0.28. Third round, 0.27. Fourth round, 0.26. Fifth round, 0.24. Total time, 2, 3, 8. So, if you want to look, hold this for me. Just as a comparison, this was your first group. Okay, we had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, good all 9 and 10 ring, and there's your times. Down here is your group a little bigger? Maybe it's just a little higher. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's still behind a hand, which is what we're looking for. And once again, I argue that a high center mesh shot is actually better than that X ring. And then your times, much improved. So we went from a total time of a 4.69 to a 2.38, which I would hope you're happy with. And we shot less than what, 2 boxes of ammo?
1.5.
1.5, yeah. So 1.5 boxes of ammo and a shot timer and some paper and a camera. And, well, it helps have somebody with you, somebody that knows what they're doing, an instructor if possible. And we've been here, what, an hour? We've been shooting for an hour, shot less than 2 boxes of ammo, and we've basically cut your time in half on a build drill and maintained group size and all that. So I'm happy with that. You happy with that? Heck yeah, man, good job. So look, use the build drill as something you can train, but also don't just fight the clock and fight the groups. If you have someone else that knows what they're doing, preferably a certified instructor, you can get a lot of diagnosis done with a drill like build drill, because it calculates speed, it scores you on group size and where your rounds, and so you get to attack speed and accuracy. So don't just go out there and do the drill, but do it with somebody that can help you diagnose what you need to do. And it's amazing in a short amount of time the kind of improvement you have. So I hope you feel a little bit more confident and capable that you could go out there, and if crap hit the proverbial fan, you'll be a little faster and taken care of.
Absolutely.
All right, man, good job.
Appreciate it.
That was beautiful.